Hey guys, it's Seb's Big Bites. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite techniques, and that is jig fishing. I hope you enjoy the video. Jig fishing is one of the most fun techniques that you will ever experience while bass fishing. I think that jig fishing is probably my favorite way to catch big bass. Like I said, jig fishing is definitely one of my top 5 techniques, and it catches giant fish. 90% of the time when you're throwing a jig, you're going to be mimicking a bait fish or a crawfish. Crawfish are a main source of food for smallmouth, so it only seems fitting to throw a jig. Now, where am I going to throw jigs? Jigs are a very versatile bait, meaning you can throw them just about anywhere. You can throw a jig in wood. You can throw a jig under docks. You can throw a jig on rock, riprap. Throw a jig. You can throw a jig just about anywhere. The main thing with a jig is that you don't want to throw it in grass because obviously it's going to get all caught up and you're not going to want to have to take, grass off of your jig every 3 seconds. So I've told you where to throw them, and it was kind of a general answer, but docks, riprap, rocks, long grass, you can throw a jig just about anywhere. When it comes to jig size, it really depends on the angler. I really like the Strike King Bitsy Bugs. I like a smaller finesse jig personally, and specifically I like throwing a smaller jig because most of the time I am fishing for smallmouth while jig fishing. So jig colors, very versatile. I stick to 2 colors pretty much, and that is green pumpkin and black and blue. Those are the only 2 colors that I will ever need, and here's why. When I have clear water, I'm going to be throwing a green pumpkin jig because it's very natural and it can mimic a lot of different things. When the watercolor is stained, and maybe if there's an overcast day, I might pull out a black and blue jig. Black and blue is just one of those colors that kind of stands out, and when you have that muddy, murky water, the fish aren't going to see that it's black and blue. They're just going to see a black object moving through the water, and it sticks out to the fish. So that's kind of the 2 jig colors that I'll fish. 90% of the time, I'm throwing a green pumpkin jig, but the other times, I'm maybe going to mix it up and throw black and blue. Now, what to use for a trailer? I keep it simple. 90% of the time when I'm dragging jigs, I drag jigs 90% of the time. I might be throwing a craw on the back of it. Now, I use any kind of craw, but specifically I like big appendages on my jigs because it gives that jig lots of movement, lots of action. So I'm leaving that up to you guys. I usually will match my jig trailer to my jig color, and that's about it. But craws most of the time when I'm fishing a swim jig, which is not really it's a jig, but not in this jig category that we're putting it in, I'm 90% of the time going to be throwing a paddle tail on that. So I've talked about where to fish jigs, what colors I like to use. Let's talk about gear to throw jigs. I'm a fan of using some bigger gear throwing jigs. I like to throw my jigs on a 7.3 medium heavy and with a very sensitive rod. Jig fish get very finicky in the summertime, and it's hard to tell if you have a jig fish sometimes. So having a very sensitive rod helps a lot when jig fishing. Seagar Abrasa X or Seagar Invisa X or even Seagar Red Label line, but I really like to stick around that 15-pound range. It still is very castable. It's 15-pound fluorocarbon, I should add. I rarely fish my jigs on braid, especially around smallmouth, because I personally believe that they're very finicky and they can see that line. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I didn't go too in-depth with jig fishing, but I didn't want to bore you guys. Drop a comment down below if you liked the video or if you have any suggestions or anything that you would like to see. We are having a giveaway, 800 subscribers here on YouTube, so make sure you subscribe. And then follow me on TikTok and Instagram at Seb's Big Bites. I'll drop the links down below, and you guys are entered that giveaway. We're giving away a favorite Army spinning combo, so make sure you're entered, and we'll catch you guys next time.